What's up guys, it's a Cubophile here and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be learning to solve the 4x4 Rubik's Cube. Before we get started, a main prerequisite that you should know is how to solve the 3x3 Rubik's Cube, as that is a crucial step to solving the 4x4, so if you don't know how to solve one, I would have a video on that, so you should go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description and in the somewhere in the top right corner here. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So the method that we're going to be learning in this video is called the Yao method, and the very first step is to make two opposite centers, which in the beginner's case, we mostly by convention do white and yellow, and we typically start out with yellow. So the first thing you want to do is make your white bar. We want to make one singular white bar, which you see we already have made here. And so next you want to make a second white bar to make an entire white center. So looking at this, you see these are the two white centerpieces here that we need to connect to make a bar. This part is fairly intuitive. You should be able to connect them using intuition. You set them up in a way so that you can do a move to connect them to make a bar. And then you want to connect the two bars together to make an entire center like so. So now we want to make the second center, the opposite center, and in this case it'll be yellow. So we want to start out doing the same thing we did with the white center, look for making one yellow bar, which we see in this case we already have. And so we want to insert this to the top here. So how we do that is that we move it to the top layer, but as you can see we messed up our white center. The white bar has been removed from its conjoined other bar. So to fix this, we do a U2, or move the top layer 180 degrees to move the bar out of the way, and bring the white bar down. So now you see we have this entire white center preserved, and we inserted our yellow bar. So now what we want to do is make the second yellow bar. So again, this should be pretty simple and intuitive. You set them up that you can connect them, like so. And then, this time, you don't just want to insert it, do a 180, and take it back out, because now we ruined this original yellow bar. No, what you want to do is align it so that you have yellow and yellow in the same slice. So you don't want them opposite like this, you want them in a row like this. And then you do the exact same thing I just did. You move it up, do a 180, and then bring it back down. And this is how you preserve both yellow bars. So now we have both the yellow and white centers solved. Alright, now you're going to start making some edges. So what you first want to do is hold the cube like this, so that your two solved centers are on the left and right side of the cube. Typically what I do is hold the white to the left and yellow to the right, but you could hold it like this, but for the sake of this tutorial, we'll keep it like this. So you want to start making the edges that have white on them, and what I mean by that is edges that are white blue, white red, white green, or white orange. So let's start with white blue, because I see we have both of them here. So to set them up, what we do is move, in this case, move this blue-white edge down here, and move it to the side here, because you see that these outer layers don't affect the centers, so we can do whatever we want, and it won't affect either of these. So now that we have it set up, we can move the layer down, this whole wide layer, and it doesn't affect either of these two centers, and we don't have to worry about it affecting any of these centers. So now that we have it set up in this angle, we could just insert it in, doing like so. And now let's move on to making the second one. So how about we do this white-green one right here. So to set it up, we have white-green on this right slice here. So we want to move this white-green on the left slice. So a way we could do that is move this down, or move this whole layer to the back. Bring this white-green edge up like that. And now you have them set up so that if you do a move, or you can do a white slice, you can set them up. And if you know the color scheme of a normal 3x3, which you should be knowing, then you'll know that blue and green go across from each other, or opposite. So we don't want to set it up like this, because that means blue and green are adjacent. No, we want to move the blue layer one extra layer down. So then when we move the green, the green edge here, the color scheme is correct. And now we want to make one more edge, so for the sake of this, we'll maybe do white and orange, because we have here and here. So to set it up like this, what you might think of doing is moving white-orange here, but you see now they're in the same slice, and we can't insert them. So the best way to do this is to do a 180 on typically the top layer here, because if you do a 180, then if you just do a wide slice, typically 2 times, then you'll set them up in a convenient way. So then now it might be a bit confusing to know where to insert this, whether here or here, But what you just should remember is blue, orange, green, red. That is the order the color scheme goes on if you follow this direction with the white center on the left. It's just up to you to remember this, but we'll just go with it for now. So we don't want to keep it here because this is green, orange, blue. We want blue, orange, green. So we're going to do a L2 and then move the orange edge here because now it's blue, orange, green. Now we're going to start making the other 4 centers. So we literally take it quite center by center. So I like to typically start with the blue center, but you can start with any center. So first off, you want to do the same thing we've been doing with the white and yellow centers. Start by making a bar. So this is a really easy bar to set up because they're both coordinated with each other. You could just do a move and they're set up like so. Then we move that to the side to preserve it. And then we bring this up. And then to find the other blue bar, we see this piece here and this piece down here. So again, we orient them so that they'll be set up like so. And then for this first center here, you can just insert it and it doesn't affect a thing. And just make sure while you're doing these turns here to have this layer completely empty because you don't want to mess up any of these edges here. Moving on to the next center now, remember the color scheme order, it goes blue, orange, green, red. So after blue in this direction will be orange. So let's start by making the orange bar. We see that we already have one set up here. So how about let's just insert it onto this area here. So if we move it down, you see that messes up the blue center here. So the same thing we did to preserve the yellow bar when we set up that center, we did a 180 and moved the blue layer back up. So now we have this blue center preserved and the orange bar preserved. And now we just want to make the second orange bar. So now it's really easy to set up because these are the 2 pieces. And then we can just bring it up, set up the orange bar, and then set it up like this so that when you bring down to orient the blue center bar, bring it down, and now you have both these centers automatically solved. And now we have the last 2 centers, which there were many cases for, but it'll mostly be up to intuition. For example, in this case, you'll have something like this. Eventually, with time, you'll learn that you'll have to orient it like this to get these 2 reds set up like so, and then move it to the side, then bring the green back down because you want it in this vertical direction, and so you'll learn to set it up like so. We'll just go over the other case you could have where if you have 2 diagonals, what you just can set up 2 bars, so think of it as setting up 2 bars. So after orange comes green, so to make a green bar, we could set up these 2, like that, so that when we bring the orange bar back down, we could preserve this green bar, bring it back down to this layer like so, move it to the left, bring it back up, and then just solve the last green bar. So by aligning these 2, like so, moving it to the side and bringing it back down. Now that we're done with solving all the centers of the cube, we're going to be purely focused on making edges now. And the first edge you want to make is the last cross edge, because remember we did 3 of them, and we didn't do 4, because we wanted a free layer to align our center bars, but now we want to make the last cross edge, or the last white edge. So in this case, it's white-red, and you see the 2 white-red pieces are here and here. So we want to place them in opposite slices, so you see this white-red is on the top slice. We want to place this white-red on the bottom slice, and this should be fairly intuitive of how to do it. You'll set it up like this. Not like this, because that just doesn't make sense, but you'll know that it'll go like this, even if you do it with trial and error after a few times. And then to set this up, you can't just set it up like this, because that messes up the centers. So you start by doing the same thing. You move it like that. Then you take it out, you take out the solved edge, replace it with an unsolved edge, bring it back in, and realign the centers. So now we've preserved that white cross edge. And now we can just insert it in as normal. And if you watch my 3x3 tutorial, you know how to insert the cross edges, just like so. So now what we would typically do is solve all the edges using a method called 3-2-3 edge pairing. But for this tutorial, that's a little bit advanced, so we're going to diverge a bit from that and go with a much simpler method, and we're going to just basically solve all the edges one at a time. So to do this, you want to set it up so that the 2 pieces of the edge you're solving are in different slices. So let's take a look at this. We have yellow, orange in the top slice. So we want the other yellow, orange edge in the bottom slice. So we have the yellow-orange one here, And to set it up in the bottom slice, we can just set it up like r prime. So now that we have it set up, we could just align them like so. Take it out, replace it with an unsolved edge, move it back in, and just undo the slice. And that's basically what we did for the last white cross edge. And so you basically want to apply that concept with all the other edges until you have one remaining. So in this tutorial, I'm just going to go over one more example. So we see we have yellow, red here, and then we have yellow, red here. Yellow, red here is on the top slice, and then with this one, we want to set it up so that it's on the bottom slice. And we can just do it like so. One case that you can have are you have them both in the same slice. To basically do this, you just take it out and then just insert it back in a way such that it's in the bottom slice. So now you just proceed as normal, align them, replace with an unsolved edge, and realign the centers. So you do that through all the edges until you reach the last two edges, in which case you have to do something a bit different. Here, as you can see, if you place the edges on different slices, you align them, there's no unsolved edge to replace it with. So instead what we do is this time do the exact opposite of what we've been doing. We want to place the edges on the exact same slice. So we want to place both yellow-green, in this case yellow-green edge pieces on the same slice. And so we want to flip this edge here, and to do this, we're going to do this algorithm. R, U, R prime, F, R prime, F prime, R. And that just flips the whole edge. Pretty basic and pretty intuitive. And so now we just do the exact same algorithm. We split up the centers, we flip the edge using the same flipping algorithm, and realign the edges, and that just solves both the last two edges automatically. And this is where the final step comes into play, and this is why you should have watched my 3x3 tutorial. It's because this whole step is basically solving the cube like a 3x3. However, there are still some special cases you can get, so just stick around till the end of the video because I'm going to be showing them to you. Alright, I'm going to speed through this part because this is just 3x3, but we'll do that F12 pair, this F12 pair, this F12 pair, and this F12 pair. So if you have experience with 3x3, you'll know that it's not possible to have one edge or one yellow edge solved on the 3x3. You either have 2 or 4 or none. So this is called OLL parity, and it's when you have either 1 or 3 yellow edges solved. So whether you have 1 yellow edge or 3 yellow edges solved, you wanna hold it from any angle, or you can, and you wanna do this algorithm. Wide R, U2, rotate the cube clockwise, wide R, U2, wide R, U2, wide R prime, U2, wide L, U2, wide R prime, U2, R, U2, R prime, U2, R prime. And you see, in this case, we got a valid case. We have 2 yellow edges solved. This is a pretty complicated algorithm, so it's up to you of how you want to memorize it, maybe muscle memory, or you could just break it up, or maybe it'll just come with practice. Anyways, now we'll just solve OLL as usual, so this case is this algorithm. In this case, we have a solvable PLL, which is a G-perm, so we'll just go ahead and do that. And we're done with the cube, but there's still one more algorithm that's very important to learn. And that is this one, where you have 2 edges unsolved, and that's impossible on a 3x3. You can't just have 2 edges swapped. And so, how you want to fix this is hold them like this, such that they're opposite each other, and do this algorithm. Do this wide R slice, so not this layer, just this inner layer. So move this 2 times, U2, move this inner slice another 2 times, wide U2, move the inner slice again 2 times, and then you could just do wide U2 and then just a normal U2. However, there is a second variation that you could have, which is having your 2 edges swapped adjacent to each other. And to solve this, you basically want to set it up so that they're opposites from each other, which in this case we can do using an R, U, R prime. So that sets up the edges opposite from each other. And then you just want to do that same algorithm and undo the setup moves, like so. And just like that, we have went over all the steps for solving the 4x4 Rubik's Cube. Of course, if you have any questions or concerns, just go ahead and leave them in the comments down below and I'll try to respond as quickly as I can. And while you're at it, if any part of this video helped you to improve in some way, maybe even helped you solve your first ever 4x4, go ahead and like and subscribe down below to be posted or notified of my upcoming videos, and that also helps me out a lot. And yeah, that'll be it, and until the next video, peace.